they're never going to see that kind of development. It's a proposed it's a proposed
Everybody's up.
Excellent. So, we live now?
Yes, we are.
All right, very good. So, good evening all. Welcome to the May 2nd meeting of the Growth Planning Committee. We'll start off with introductions as always. So, I'm Dan Saunders. Paul, you want to go?
Sure, I'm Paul Hogan. I'm away in New York. Dan's in Philadelphia.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, traveling for work, so I'm just rolled into Philadelphia. And then who do we have on? We live now? Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
So where do you want to go? Left to right there?
Sure, yeah. Werner Gilliam.
Michelle Ratley.
Janet Powell.
Liz Johnson.
Okay.
And we have Tom Morgan in the audience with us.
Oh, excellent. How you doing, Tom?
Howdy. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay.
Oh, he's got.
Mike.
Did you turn the mic on, Tom? I did. I turned it back off again. Okay. Was it working?
Yeah, you could probably just leave it on.
All right.
Yeah, that way so they can hear you.
Good. Am I being heard now? Is this working?
Yeah, I can hear you now over the.
Okay, so first on our agenda is the minutes from April 4th. And since I didn't submit them, there's nothing to review or vote on as of now, so I'll get those out. So that leaves the only other thing on the agenda, which is a review with Tom on the feedback that we received on the comprehensive plan. So Tom, I assume you've seen all that? You have some,
Yes, I have, yes. It was kind of lengthy. I mean, there's a lot of pages of stuff there, but most of it is comments that don't require a change to the plan. There are some specific comments that do require revisions. And I guess probably the most efficient thing we can do going forward is, sort out who's going to do what, so we won't be repeating each other's efforts there.
absolutely. All right, so Warner, do you have that information in front of you?
I do, yes. Yeah, I've got the, I have the missing items list that we have here.
Okay,
Hey, Werner, is that posted on our page? I don't have my paperwork here.
I can pull it up.
We can send it, we can make sure, we can send it to you. I don't know if it's on the page itself, but it'll probably be quicker just to do a quick email to you.
yeah, can you copy me as well?
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
So the first item is noted as evaluation measures that describe how the community will periodically, at least every 5 years, evaluate the following. A, the degree to which future land use plan strategies have been implemented. B, the percent of municipal growth-related investment in growth areas. C, location and amount of new development in relation to communities' designated growth areas, rural area, and transition area, if applicable. And D, amount of critical natural resource, critical rural, and critical waterfront areas protected through acquisition, easements, or other measures.
Okay. I mean, that's something that I would think our committee could do, right? Maybe every 2 years or every 3 years, and if we document that within our ordinance, is that?
Yeah, so I think what they're looking for, I think, is some specific language, and that just says, how do we intend to do this? I don't think it's enough to just say, sure, we'll do it.
Yeah.
I think there likely needs to be a little bit of, flesh on the bone for these, particular items. So I think what it'll relate to is it'll relate to, one, maybe identifying which particular departments, would have the data. So you would look to each one and say, all right, so, future land use plan strategies have been implemented, so, that's something that could be a joint piece between growth planning and the planning department, in terms of, two groups that would look at that. Percentage of municipal growth-related capital investments in growth areas. That, you're gonna look at a budget. You're gonna look to see where exactly your capital investments have been allocated, and just to see how much of that occurs within a growth area. That particular piece there, I would tend to think that would be a combination of, town manager responsibility, along with planning, since that's a town budget item.
Yeah.
Sure.
Location and amount of new development in relation to communities designated growth area, rural area, and transition areas, if applicable. That's something that we do already.
Right.
And so I think to some degree, it may just be spelling out that that's something that is already done, and here's how it's done. We report, every year, within the town report, where permits have been issued, in which areas. So that's something that's already done. Maybe that just needs to be spelled out, that's already something that's done on an annual basis. And then amount of critical natural resource, critical rural, and critical waterfront areas protected through acquisition, easements, or other measures. That's also, I think that is an item that can come out of planning as well. But here's I think first you establish your baseline of what you have, and then, in 5 years, you just look at that inventory to see if anything has been added to that.
Werner, on these, you don't have to report this all to the state. It's just that they have to see that there's a mechanism in place, that you're evaluating yourself and you're reporting, publicly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, the state doesn't, they don't have any, regulatory, really enforcement mechanism or authority to, make sure you're doing it. This is, I think, just, this is I think an internal check that you have language and that you're acknowledging that that these are things that have to be done.
Yeah. Paul, as I understand it, the state is asking us to put a couple paragraphs in the comp plan to say this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to address these issues.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to get into the nuts and bolts of how we do it, right? I think we identify that, we're going to track these metrics, get the baseline, and then track the metrics. And, I think our committee could do that do it on a 4-year frequency. So we get at least 2 done in between the comp plan rewrites. And that's information that's utilized for when we're doing the rewrite of a comp plan.
But Werner just told us the mechanics, so there's no reason why we can't report those mechanics. They're very simple.
I guess as long as you don't get too detailed into exactly how it's done, because it may change over time. And you
Right.
gotta update the plan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I think Werner's right. You just can't say, got it, we'll do it.
yeah.
Yeah, if I was them, I'd want a little more than that. I'd want some detail, I don't need the spreadsheet, but I would be asking for a little bit more detail on how that's gonna be done, but.
Okay. So is that something we're gonna update in the plan? since we got to do the metrics.
Yeah, so I think just, in terms of if we're gonna do an assignment for that, I think that's, Michelle and I can put that, can put that language together, float that back out, to the, to the committee. And then we'll push that to Tom to see where that gets added,
Okay.
to where in the plan that winds up going.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that works.
So next one is designate a location in growth areas where mobile home parks are allowed pursuant to 30A MRSA. I'm not going to read all the numbers, but, and where manufactured housing is allowed pursuant to, looks like pretty close to the same statute. So, this is, this is a bit of a mapping exercise. So I think what we have to do here is we're looking at, which portions of the free enterprise zone that are also within the growth zone, because those are your two overlaps, right? So you've got mobile home park happens in free enterprise, growth, and they're asking for where in the growth areas, so it's this overlap of growth area and free enterprise zone that we have to show, and I think that probably just put a little bit of language in terms of free enterprise allows a mobile home park. These are the areas, where they can go.
Right. It's not clear, Werner, if they're actually asking for a map. I would think that'd be the most practical way to show it, though.
Yeah, again, if it was me asking for it, I'd probably also go one step further and say, show me the vacant land available.
Don't give them
for it,
ideas.
But,
Yeah, you're too good.
but I don't,
My question is, are they just asking us to implement this as a strategy? Because it, under the.
See,
strategy
to me,
section,
I think
rather than actually
it's
completing the task.
it's already done,
Right.
and maybe that's part of it as well, because I think some of these strategies we looked at and we said, well, we already do that,
Right, exactly, yeah.
But they want to see it,
Just
Michelle.
put in
Yeah.
as a
Just put it in,
strategy,
put it
we're
in.
Right.
Yeah,
doing that.
And they even say you can combine some of these.
Right,
Yeah.
It's
right.
pretty straightforward.
And I get it, the
The
state,
strategy,
the
the
state
strategy
doesn't,
just to maintain the zone, maintain that. We're not
Right.
going to get rid of it.
that's right, yeah.
So, Werner, I forget, do you guys have GIS capability in-house or no?
Yeah, we have a certain level of it,
Alright.
we dabble.
All right, good,
Yep.
good. Do you want to dabble on this, or should we take it?
No, I think we can grab this one, this one's, I think, this is pretty straight, this is pretty quick.
What is our current regulation on prefab housing? Is there one?
So, we allow for manufactured housing in town, so I think that's as simple as saying that, yes, manufactured housing is allowed. It's allowed everywhere where a single-family home is allowed. You have, you may have deed restrictions within subdivisions that don't allow it,
Right.
but those are private deed restrictions. Those aren't town regs.
Okay.
But no, we allow for manufactured housing everywhere where
Or
single.
stick homes are allowed?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and maybe we just need to say that, for that language there, it's just,
that's
we just
simple.
need to say that, yeah. All right, so next one. Work with public and private partners to extend and maintain a network of trails for motorized and non-motorized uses. Connect with regional trail systems when possible. So, Tom, I feel like some of this is already language that already exists in the plan.
Yes, I had a distinct impression that there's stuff in there that they just missed,
Yeah,
But we're gonna have to go
We should
back
talk
and,
about this.
confirm that.
yeah. Same thing, number 4, work with an existing local land trust or other conservation organizations to pursue opportunities to protect important open space or recreational land.
Like we didn't mention that.
Like Kate's cheese, like 20 times.
Maybe we should start one of those in town.
Yeah.
That's an idea.
So Tom, if I'm looking at, at least 3 and 4, can you
Yes.
point out the locations where that strategy is already
I
met?
was gonna volunteer to do those.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you, and say, look, it's either already in there, we just gotta change the wording a little bit, or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we have one that was for motorized? I heard,
No,
Maybe that wasn't in there.
Yeah, that's probably
That's
the,
probably the key word.
yeah, we probably forgot that word, and that's what flagged them.
right,
Right.
right. Maybe if you did a word search, you probably didn't find the word motorized in there, but.
It was probably done on purpose, too.
I mean,
Maybe-
I will say, I don't believe there is any requirement that we have to designate, motorized, recreational trails.
Well, evidently, they
But I think we need to at least
they-
address it that,
Like
that the town doesn't currently have any recognized, motorized, I mean, we don't have ATV or snowmobile trails, and, I mean, I don't hear a clamoring desire for any, so.
No, the way I'm reading it, though, we're in number 3, is that the state is asking it to do that, to put it right in the comp plan.
Right, like that's one of the things they want us to do is
Yeah.
to accommodate for that.
It's very Maine.
Right.
Right? The
Yeah.
ATV and the
Yeah.
snowmobile.
So if we put that, if it's not in there and we put it in, would that get any pushback here in town?
You're opening a door. I mean, it's in.
that's the thing.
No, I think
It's-
if anything, the only thing your plan would have to say is that, consider locations where, motorized and non-motorized
We're appropriate.
are appropriate. And you leave it at
There you
that.
go.
Okay, we'll see if they like that appropriate part.
Yeah, appropriate.
Well, I mean, where is the requirement for that within the state planning office? Regulation, where they say that we have to identify trails that are marked as for motorized use?
No, they don't, so they don't say that, they just say work with public and private partners to extend and maintain a network of trails for motorized and non-motorized uses. Connect with regional trail systems when possible, so.
Do they tell that to Portland too?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
great.
the old trolley trail is used for that. I mean, I hear them go by the house all the time, so.
yeah,
and
they're just
back
not,
when we used to get snow, you'd hear the snowmobiles do that.
right, they're just not designated as part of
Not
the,
designated.
as part of that network.
Right.
They don't connect to that broader, trail, snowmobile trail system.
They do connect the roads, which are for motorized vehicles.
This is true.
So. Okay, well, I guess if we could be generic and get away with it, I would do that.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that it's motorized is in the requirement. I could certainly see non-motorized. Or bike trail requirements and stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and, Tom, if you even want to reach out to the other Tom to get some clarification on that.
I can do that. I'll ask them for the statutory authority.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Can I
then,
ask him if we substituted electric vehicles for motorized, would he be happy in keeping with the state's plan to decarbonize?
I did
That's
have
what they
a,
should be.
yeah, I did have a conversation a couple of years ago with the other Tom, and he said, this checklist that he's working off of is not really up to date. Because, I was asking him, well, what about all the climate stuff that's coming out of Augusta? And he says, well, no, they haven't caught up yet. So you are looking at dated material.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, then the last one in that strategy was provide educational materials regarding the benefits and protections for landowners allowing public recreational access on their property. At a minimum, this will include information on Maine's landowner liability law regarding recreational or harvesting use.
Do we have such literature in town?
So really what we're talking about here, and this is, Maine is pretty good about protecting property owners, liability-wise by allowing for recreational use of their properties. So if you're a large landowner and, say, for example, you allow folks to hunt on your property, or if you allow for a trail network to cross your property, Maine is pretty protective of the landowner in that regard from liability. So it's provide educational materials. I mean, I think there's a couple ways we could do this, and Tom, maybe this is another strategy just to put in is that, recommend that that us, the town, we can put a link into, on the town's website that sends them to IF&W, for that landowner liability language.
That's a good one. That's pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, so I think if we just say that,
Okay,
and that's an easy fix.
all right.
Yeah, we were walking in Smith Preserve the other day, the one day that it wasn't raining. And we came upon a sign on a tree that said, "You're now entering private property," and had the name of the landowner on the sign.
Right, yep.
But I guess my question is, how do people know when they're not on public property and they've moved into a private property? I mean, the town may know about it, but it's not like there's a directory or.
But I think the
Is
point
that a
of this
crazy question?
is to try to encourage property owners to allow others to use their property. The education is not,
Because it
Okay.
provides more links to
Right.
the trails, et cetera.
Well,
Makes it more cohesive in some ways, right?
what it is say for example, I'll use the hunting example, say, you're hunting on property and you cross over onto property that's not posted, okay? And let's say that you trip and twist your ankle. So the law, protects the landowner from you as the person who is there.
Right.
It protects them from you bringing suit against the landowner for your injury, is what it does.
Yeah.
But, so really, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage property owners to not post their property, but to allow that type of, passive recreational use that's there. I mean, obviously.
They don't need to identify where you are as private property.
No,
No, okay.
Doesn't say that here.
no,
Just wondering.
nope, we'd have signs all over the woods if.
It's all about the landowner then? not
Correct.
The liability?
Yes.
That's what it is?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about making sure, and I think really what this is, it's making sure that landowners know,
Yeah.
that they are,
Protected,
that
yeah.
they're protected.
Right, okay, good. Thank you.
But I think the website link is a way to go with that. I don't want to have
Yeah.
another brochure hanger on the
That's
wall
right.
somewhere.
We'll place a photo.
But,
Yeah, number 6, this is a good one.
yes, number 6, locate new public facilities comprising at least 75% of new municipal growth-related capital investments in designated growth areas.
Do you
I mean,
have
this
any
is-
new facilities in the pipeline?
I mean, this is a little bit of a tricky one. I mean, that's, there's not really anything, other than, we've been having a lot of discussions about, about a new town hall. That would qualify as a public facility.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah.
the location that we've been
Right.
looking at is located within the growth area, so, that qualifies.
We have them downtown already.
So, but beyond that, there's not really there's not a big plan for, new public facilities.
So-
Most of really, most of what we do is maintain maintain the
Exactly.
infrastructure that we
So,
have.
so Werner, what you've just told me is that there is no downside to this one. It's not
No.
gonna come back and bite us.
It could be even like locate and maintain,
Right,
but it could just, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much status quo.
right. Yeah.
So then we're okay with putting this in the plan verbatim then, huh?
I think so, yep, right, exactly. I think this is just we take that language and
Okay,
put that in the plan.
Okay.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah, they like it when you use the exact language.
I was gonna
they
say, cut and
propose.
paste.
right.
Number 7, I thought we said that in about 20 different ways, but we can say it again.
Yeah, well, so, yeah, so,
21.
right, remember the policies, then, and the strategies. I like number 9.
Oh my god.
Yep.
We
You
did
know.
not
Oh
say
my
that, that was an
God.
oversight, I'm gonna,
Right.
I'm gonna confess.
Yeah.
That's one thing Liz and I overlooked.
Right?
And necessary time off to enforce.
I mean, we all promised to pass the budget, for the department every year.
And now,
I mean,
in
that's-
your excitement to get to number 9, you skipped over
I was
8.
gonna say, we didn't do 8, 7,
You're right, those are just, the policies piece,
but
but yeah.
9 is the most important one.
Right. To coordinate the community's land use strategies with other local and regional land use planning efforts. 8, to support the level of financial commitment necessary to provide needed infrastructure in growth areas.
It's ambiguous enough, you can put it in there without.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think those are. I mean, I think one really goes in hand with the other, that if we're going to propose infrastructure in growth areas, then we would need to go to the town to ask for the funds for it.
Right?
Or one takes care of the other.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
but I think it's fine to say that,
Oh, yeah.
yep,
Some of this stuff is kind of self-evident.
Right,
right.
that's what I thought.
The
Yeah.
plan was so good, they had to put something in for us to look at.
I notice
again.
it gets better as we go along.
Yeah,
So is that something we update the capital planning piece? Just to say those words, even though one goes,
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
for
I think
sure.
you take that language and right, Dan, I think that's the right spot for it, is the capital
Right,
side of it,
But
capital investment.
however, the state's telling us to put it into the future land use.
or future land use plan.
Yeah.
Or we can say it there too.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice guide they give us of exactly where we need to put
Yeah.
what
Good.
changes, so.
Oh,
Right.
that's good.
Yeah.
You've got the robot.
Yeah, and I mean, number 10, I mean, again, we do, but I think we can say that,
Yeah.
and, 11, we already talked about.
what's 10 and 11?
Oh, I'm
Werner?
sorry, yeah, so 10
Apologize,
is,
I don't have the,
10 is track new development in the community by type and location.
okay.
Yeah, so we can say that. Number 11 is direct a minimum of 75% of new municipal growth-related capital investment into designated growth areas identified in the future land use plan. I mean, I think that's pretty much the same thing that you're saying in number 6, which was, the same language.
At the top, it says you can combine 6 and 11.
Yep,
But it's two different areas.
right.
Yeah.
But I think we can say it in both,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Tom gets paid by the word.
And then number 12 is periodically, at least every 5 years, evaluate implementation of the plan in accordance with section 2.7.
Which is one of the functions of this committee, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And, and I think that's something also we just maybe need to say that,
Committee that does
And
just that.
yeah, that can be done either number 1 or number 12, so, options.
right.
What's 2
I don't know what
Yeah,
2.7 is, I was trying to locate that.
Yeah, I don't know where
Yeah.
what section 2.7 is.
I looked, I couldn't
Yeah.
find it.
Section 2.7 of what? Document?
I don't know.
Yeah. But it said we could do either one or the other.
All right.
It's
So we'll-
definitely not in the comp plan.
We'll just do copy
but
paste and we'll let the
I-
audience try to figure out what 2.7 is.
I looked, I couldn't find it, so.
But yeah, so we can do either one. I mean, we've already talked about what we're gonna do with number 1, so I think that covers it.
Yeah.
So we don't need to worry about number 12.
Whatever it is.
Yep. Okay. So just to recap, what I see is that Michelle and I will take 1 and 2,
And
and then,
I'll take 3 through 12.
yep, then Tom and Liz take the 3 through 12. So, were there any other pieces? So we had all the other comments from, the other agencies. And while we didn't have any particular requirements, were there any other pieces that we felt like we wanted to add, other than making sure that we mentioned Melinda Anderson's farm?
And what was Abby's comment about Southern Maine? Did we need to do something there?
I think that's really Jay.
Oh, that was Lee J's comment?
Oh, it
Um,
was someone,
Yeah. I mean, it didn't, yeah, so maybe we could get some clarification on some of those pieces, Tom. So,
What page are we on?
this is all towards the end. It's the last page.
Okay.
It's in an email memo, yeah.
Oh, good.
That one.
I didn't get that far. Thanks. Okay.
So what we had was, so in the regional coordination portion of the plan, SMPDC was barely noted as a regional planning organization. Let's double check that piece. I mean, I feel like that was mentioned, but,
Yeah.
Entire page dedicated to that.
okay.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Should we make the page longer, or what do you want to do?
Well,
Bolded.
let's just, if we can review that.
Why don't you guys review it?
Yep.
And then if you want to like extend it or anything, just let me know. We can pull some stuff off the website and add a page.
If I recall, he did mention a couple of things that they were doing with the town that weren't listed in the
Yeah.
plan.
In the
Maybe we
last
could just
paragraph.
add a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, I think the problem there was these activities occurred after Liz and I had finished the plan. There was
Yeah.
there was like a year and a half, 2 year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we started this a while ago.
that's right. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's a fair
That's
point.
actually the truth.
I mean, yeah.
So the question is, is there a cutoff, or do you want to bring it up to 2023?
I think at this point, I mean, we focus on the comments from the state. And, other than I think, let's just take a look at the regional piece, make sure that that the committee feels that it's adequately addressed. And then the only other piece that I see here is the transportation portion of the plan. He states there's a number of issues missing, including a bridge. Let's just make sure we don't have a missing bridge.
Right. The bridge to nowhere.
Well, I
But-
did confer with Liz on this one. I said, Liz, you left out a bridge. She said, what? She said, which bridge? I said, they didn't say.
Yeah. And
the Mystic Bridge.
And in all fairness, if there are references to GP cog, I mean, we may want to rethink that. I mean, we don't have any, we really don't have any connection with GP cog.
What is GP cog?
Greater-
Council of Government.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you are on the very edge of GP cog. And I'll tell you why I wrote that section, why it's in there. is that after spending some time in this town, I realized that people in Kennebunkport, they like to go to Portland. That's the city they go to. They don't tend to go down to Wells or Sanford or places like that. Portland is the draw. So that was my perception. That's why this GP cog is in here, because your transportation issues are, how do you get back and forth between here and Portland?
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, but it's just, even that particular link, though, is not a GP cog, issue, nor is it within their jurisdictional area, even though you're 100% right. I mean, practically speaking, that's, there's a lot of transportation connection there, but, in terms of, if you're drawing the lines around the borders of
Like regional
planning, GP cog is not our.
Right, but this wasn't the regional
See.
planning part of the plan.
Right.
This is, as he says in the first sentence, this is the transportation chapter.
Piece.
So your transportation issues, I thought, my perception was that how do you get to here to Portland? How do you get to the main mall? How do you get to the airport?
Get in your car.
Well, yeah, I know,
Right.
but that's what the plan's all about, is
Right.
just see what the alternatives are.
Yes.
Right, but, I guess, what I'm saying is that, like, the transportation, the path to get there, so GP cog isn't looking at Log Cabin Road out to Route 1. That's, if anything, that is SMPDC's, court, not GP cog, because it's outside of their jurisdiction.
Got it.
The turf.
There's some
that-
like turf
It's a
war.
turf.
It's a
yes.
turf thing.
And the line's kind
Right.
of arbitrary, and Kennebunkport is right on the edge.
Oh, boy.
It is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's your pleasure here? What would you like me to do with GP cog?
Well, let's just take a read over the regional portion and the transportation section, and just see how folks, if we feel as if there's anything that's,
So,
needs some change.
okay, so I'll wait to hear back from you,
Yeah.
you guys, all right.
Are these people that write in, do they receive a reply?
No.
Oh,
Would you like to reply?
no. He just seems like he's making some very kind of, you've ignored us completely, in a way.
Well,
And maybe it would be good to just let him know, listen, a lot of this was written before your group came up with these wonderful
no, and
solutions.
Werner and Michelle and I were talking a couple weeks ago. I remember distinctly reaching out to Southern Maine, because I wanted to collaborate with them. And we did get Abby and Karina over here. So I was really surprised to see these comments.
This is a little bit more of, I think, of a personality issue
Got it,
than anything
okay.
else.
And it's better to take care of it, and if he revisits it, you can show him.
Right,
Good.
yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
better.
I wouldn't, yeah.
Don't take it too personally.
One, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it, and two,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
spend an awful lot of
Yeah,
time.
I'm just wondering what the, protocol is for something like that, but
Yeah,
it's, something similar could happen if someone is at a town meeting of sorts,
yeah,
talking about something that's not being done right.
right.
Okay.
If,
Opinion.
if I had so if we had, and this is, it's common really, is that if folks are asking about something that's going on and they want to understand, like, how something gets reviewed or under what section of the ordinance we
Right.
look at it, then
It's very factual.
very factual. Here's the language, we point to it and provide it in response
Great.
back.
Okay.
But that's something that we do, for the folks who live here in town.
Terrific.
Always could provide a marked up copy back and say, here's those things, but I don't,
No,
I'm not gonna go down
could
that
go
road.
on and on.
Right.
So before we leave this paragraph, what about the missing bridge and the number of issues that are missing? Do we do anything with that, or just leave it?
Well, yeah.
Well, You know, we
You're gonna
can,
find 'em.
that's what I'm saying, if we review this, let's just look over the bridges and see if, I mean, this is a little bit of this is local knowledge piece.
Yeah.
So if we as a group can look these over and say, hey, this one's not mentioned, so
Okay.
let's,
Right.
So you
Let's do
guys,
that.
you guys will take a look at
Yep.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it would have been more helpful if they, identified the missing bridge.
you missed X. Yep.
Well, you missed it, so now you have to go find it.
More of like a Where's Waldo situation.
And we're not gonna tell you where it is.
You want to hear the backstory here? I don't know if we mentioned, Liz has had her second child. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, back in early
congratulations.
March. And this thing came in, as you can see, well, we saw her for the first time right after that. So as soon as she had some time, I said, Liz, did you see that email from Maine? And she said, no.
I'll get to it.
I said, Liz, we missed the bridge. That got it kind of wound up.
Funny.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I think,
Wasn't there also a farm that we listed that was in Arundel? actually?
5-acre farm,
right,
Melissa's farm.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I said, we
Wait, he
should
mentioned that,
fix
yeah,
that.
that's gotta be fixed.
What page is that on now?
It's second to the last email.
Yep,
Okay.
Talking about 5 acre,
yeah,
So,
5-acre farm.
5-acre, yeah.
okay, I don't know where that is. If one of you can tell me where it is, I will make sure it gets into the plan.
Yep, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
give you that, we'll give you the
So-
location.
It's right near the
Plain.
turn for Goose Rocks Beach.
No, I just want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah. So you guys will send me an
Bryant Lane.
email with the
yeah,
location and
we'll
we'll put it in the
give you
plan.
that.
All right.
But yeah, so I think that covers everything.
So from a timing standpoint, we have to make these changes and then submit the whole plan again, or at least submit the portions that are being changed
Yes,
to the town for approval, right?
correct.
The
Right.
deadline is August 4th, I think, for it to
So-
be back at the state.
This has
Liz-
to go
Liz-
back by August 4th?
Yeah, Liz
Okay.
and I can move pretty quickly on this. What's your timeline?
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to do is, the amendment pieces, we want to have these for the November warrant, so that we can, wrap this up. Process-wise, so if we can, deal with these language pieces, if we get together do we want to do next month? Or do we want to, what's the pleasure of the group? What do we think we need? So it's May 2nd. We could do a 16th meeting, or,
I mean, what's the right way to do this? You send it back to the state, they require it within 80 days, and you ask for them to bless it, and if they don't, we still put it on our warrant?
well, I would tell you that I really would prefer to have the nice, neat letter before I put it on the warrant, that says it's consistent, just to make sure we're 100%. I'd like to have those exhibits ready to go. We typically have those ready pretty soon after the June, town meeting, so, end of July, I think it would be the target when I'd want to have those drafts ready. End of July, beginning of August.
Okay, but in terms of the three of us making these changes, Liz and I can move
Yeah.
on this pretty quickly.
Yeah, you guys can do that pretty quick. That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
is that
but-
if we get back together, Do we want to do that next month? And so we'll have had a chance to review, the comp plan language. You'll have had a chance to get those language items done. We'll have a chance to have gotten, the map piece and that other strategy done.
Clarification that we need from Tom.
Yeah, and that gives time too, if you need any back and
Okay.
forth with Tom from the state,
Right,
then there should be adequate time to do that.
okay. Well, I'll get going on this in the next week or so and get something to you.
So what do we think of that, Dan and Paul, June 6th?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be remote again, but that's fine.
Okay.
And that gives us enough, when do we have to have sent to the state by?
August.
August 4th.
Yeah, they have to have it by August 4th, so I'd like to get, once we sign off on the amendments, then we would have those sent to them soon after, that next, once the committee is done with it, we would then send it to the state.
Okay, so we can get it to the state second week in June, right?
Correct, yes.
Then hopefully they can get back to us in time. And when will we need to have changes in front of the selectmen for the warrant?
He said it usually only takes him like 2 days,
Yeah, so,
once he's already done the initial
okay.
review.
yeah. Did you guys hear Michelle?
No, I didn't, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, Tom at the state said it usually takes him about 2 days after the initial review. So for these revisions, it should be a quick turnaround.
Okay, good.
Good.
So we should know by the end of June, worst case,
That's right.
whether they pass the test. And then we can move forward with getting it on the warrant for a vote on November.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep,
good.
so yeah, that should work.
Okay, good. And that's really just that's not consistency, right? That's just completeness.
No, it's consistency. It's both.
It's both.
It's both,
Consistency
okay.
and
Yeah,
completeness.
completeness and consistency is what we are looking to get from them.
Right. But I thought they only were commenting on completeness in the beginning. I misread that then.
Yeah.
Yes, that is how it looks whenever you look at their site. Yep, they didn't deem it complete, but from what I understand, their practice is once you do these fixes,
Right.
these fixes are intended to get you both, get you
Okay.
completeness and consistency.
Okay,
And
that's good. That's good.
then it'll be time to start, updating the comp plan again.
Right?
Okay, good.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah, and
you only have to do one check on yourself in 10 years, because you'll be starting the next plan
Right.
shortly thereafter.
yeah, in fact, in his letter to Michelle, he bolded, "We identified missing elements that will need to be added or corrected before we can find the plan to be consistent with the Growth Management
Okay.
Act." So we're gonna hold him to that.
Yep. No, and I did touch base with him as well and ask him that these were the final revisions that we would need, and he said yes, so.
So in
All right,
essence,
good.
what follows, the list of suggested improvements on the strategies? Is that fair?
Yep.
There's an awful lot of commentary, and several look like they're very complimentary.
Yeah.
So it's basically, it's a summary of their analysis of our plan. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
So we don't need to, we could read through it.
Right.
But we don't have,
No,
but I will.
you should. You should read them. They're very nice.
It's nice, it's nice to get a pat on the back,
Good
right?
comments, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks glowing.
It's very
Yeah.
nice.
We could actually put these compliments in the plan itself,
Make it look a little denser. It's a little denser.
Have a little call-out box there, highlight it.
Inside the front cover, right?
Does that go in the dust jacket?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, good. So anything else on the review?
No. Oh, so Dan, this was for you. Did you get an email from April about, are you able to zoom into the selectmen's meeting
It's the 11th.
to report on the consistency finding of the warrant articles?
Yeah, it's on the 11th, right?
Yes.
What, yeah, I mean, I'm traveling that week, so that'd be my only
Yep.
option.
Either that, or we just need to have, or if that doesn't work for you, we could have a representative of the board come to that meeting and do that report.
Okay.
But the way the ordinance is written, it's written as if someone is physically, or someone is there and tells the board, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll send an email out to the board.
Yeah, either that or, yeah, like I said, as long as we've
I don't want
got
to put anybody on the spot right now.
a member that shows up that says, we reviewed on such and such a date and found them to be consistent. That's the extent of what we need for that meeting.
Good. I didn't realize I don't remember doing this before. Is this something new?
No, yeah, we've done it.
Well, I mean, we've done it before, but I didn't think it was a requirement. I thought just us voting on it was sufficient
Yeah,
and have it noted in our minutes, but that's, we can do that. Okay,
yeah, but that's all I have.
all right. Any other business? Okay,
Nope.
all right, well, thanks, Tom, for coming down.
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be
For coming
back.
up, or coming
For
down.
coming up, yeah, coming
Depends
up.
on how
Coming up from Portsmouth.
much of a
Thank you.
Mainer you are.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm a sailor. I know
Yeah, right.
where the wind blows.
That was
yeah.
very good, Dan. I gotta remember that. I think north-south.
All right, I'll take a motion then.
I motion that we adjourn?
Yes.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Paul. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a good night.
Go Devils. Oh.